Eala looked stunning at the Laureus World Sports Awards 2026. This event was attended by world-class athletes, but Alex definitely stole the spotlight with her stunning look and dress. She represented the Philippines well.
There's a moment at every major award show where the room just stops. Not for a speech, not for a winner's name being called, not for some rehearsed dramatic pause. Just stops, because something walks through the door that nobody was ready for. That's what happened at the Laureus World Sports Awards in 2026. And the thing that stopped the room wasn't a Formula One world champion. It wasn't an Olympic gold medalist. It was a 20-year-old girl from Manila in an ivory white gown, walking that red carpet like she'd been doing it her entire life. Her name is Alex. And if you don't know her story yet, buckle in, because it is one of the most quietly extraordinary things happening in world sport right now. The cameras caught it first, the way they always do when something real is happening. Every lens in the building swung toward her simultaneously. Fashion editors who cover these events for a living, people who have seen thousands of red carpet moments, were filing emergency copy before the ceremony had even started. Filipino fans online were flooding comment sections in numbers that crashed notification systems. And by the time the evening ended, 4 words had gone out from the designer behind that gown that sent the fashion world into a spiral nobody had predicted. Sold out, completely gone, in a matter of hours. Now, if you're watching this thinking it's just a dress story, you're already missing the point. Stick with me, because the part that comes next is the part that actually matters. To understand why that night landed the way it did, you have to go back, way back. You have to understand who Alex is, and where she came from, and what it actually cost her to be standing in that room. She was born in Manila in May 2005. The Philippines is a country that loves sport with a ferocity that most places can't match, but the sport it loves is basketball, boxing, weightlifting. Tennis was never part of that national conversation in any serious way. A world-class tennis player emerging from those islands wasn't something the global tennis establishment had on its radar. It wasn't something they were looking for, and honestly, it wasn't something they were particularly open to when it arrived. But arrive it did. By the time Alex was 13 years old, she was training at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. That is not a place you get into on charm or potential or someone pulling a favor. The Academy is one of the most selective development programs in world tennis. You earn your spot through results and through the kind of relentless work ethic that most junior players, even the gifted ones, simply cannot sustain at that age. She sustained it. She started collecting ITF junior titles. The wins started stacking up. And then in 2022, at 17 years old, she walked into the US Open Girls Singles Draw and walked out as champion. One of the 4 Grand Slam junior titles. One on hard court in New York, which if you know tennis, you know is the most demanding surface in terms of pace and raw physical intensity. She was a teenager. The entire Philippines erupted. The social media traffic around her name after that broke records for Filipino sports coverage. She wasn't just an athlete anymore. She was proof that a young woman from Southeast Asia could enter the most competitive sporting environment on the planet and leave with a title. That matters. It matters in ways that go beyond sport. Because in a country that has spent decades watching its athletes compete bravely and come close and fall just short on the world stage, here was someone who didn't come close. She won. And then she turned professional, and the doubt started. This is the part the tennis establishment would rather not examine too closely. The jump from dominant junior player to credible WTA professional breaks people. It has broken players who looked more ready than Alex did at that transition point. The main tour is a completely different world. Every single person across the net from you is exceptional. Many of them have been exceptional for longer than you've been alive, as a professional. The margins between winning and losing are invisible to most observers, but they are everything to the people living inside them. Alex struggled. She was honest about it publicly, which itself was a kind of quiet courage. Her ranking moved in the wrong direction for stretches. The losses piled up in early rounds. And the commentary started, the kind that tennis pundits who mistake setbacks for verdicts love to produce. Some voices suggested she had plateaued. A few went further and implied the junior success had been a kind of illusion, that the hype had been built on a surface that couldn't hold the weight. She kept working. She didn't respond publicly. She just kept working. And slowly, then all at once, the results started shifting. By 2024, she was pushing top 20 players to 3 sets. Her serve, always the most dangerous part of her game, was clocking at speeds that put her among the hardest hitters on the entire tour. Her movement improved, her decision-making under pressure, precisely the quality the doubters had questioned the loudest, was visibly sharper every time you watched her. Then 2025 arrived, and the trajectory became something you couldn't argue with anymore. Wins over players ranked inside the top 30, a WTA ranking that had climbed into territory that placed her firmly inside the conversation, not on the edges of it. The tennis world adjusted its tone. Not quickly, not generously, but it adjusted through every single moment of that grind, through the losses and the quiet periods and the commentary that was sometimes unkind. The Filipino fan base never moved. That is genuinely important, and I don't think the wider sports world fully grasps how important it is. Filipino sports fans travel. They fill stands. They stay awake at hours that make no biological sense to watch matches being played in European time zones. They bring color and noise and identity to tournaments that have historically been very quiet, very European, very homogeneous in their atmosphere. When Alex plays anywhere in the world, the Philippine flag appears courtside. It appears in the stands. It appears in comment sections under match highlights posted at 2 a.m. Manila time. That relationship between a young athlete and a fan base that believed before the results made believing easy is the invisible foundation beneath everything that happened at the Laureus Awards. Speaking of which, the Laureus World Sports Awards have been running since 2000, and they are the closest thing sport has to an actual Oscar ceremony. The 2026 edition brought together champions from Formula One, football, athletics, swimming, gymnastics. Objectively, one of the most decorated sporting gatherings that exists anywhere on the calendar. Alex was there as a rising figure in tennis, not a headliner, not a nominee, just part of the broader world of sport that the event pulls into its orbit every year. She arrived wearing an ivory white gown from a Filipino fashion house. And I want to be really clear about something here, because this detail is crucial. That was not a stylist's decision. That was not a brand partnership. That was not a calculated move executed by a team of people managing her image. That was Alex making a deliberate, personal choice to stand in one of the most visible rooms in world sport wearing a Filipino designer. The gown itself was floor-length, structured at the shoulders, fluid through the body, ivory rather than stark white, which gave it a warmth that photographs beautifully. It moved with a kind of quiet architectural confidence that cameras instinctively understand. On a red carpet full of athletes in the predictable wardrobe of global sponsorship deals and borrowed luxury pieces, it was completely singular. The wire service photographs went out before the ceremony began. Fashion editors in Paris and Milan and New York were tagging the images within minutes. Accounts that cover red carpet style with audiences in the millions were posting while Alex was still finding her seat inside. And the word being used across all of it repeatedly wasn't nice or elegant or impressive. It was stunning, not in the flattened social media sense. In the original sense, The sense of something that stops you mid-scroll and makes you actually look. Within the tennis community specifically, the reaction had an additional dimension. Tennis has always had its style icons. Serena Williams redefined what power and presence meant on a court. Federer made Wimbledon whites feel like haute couture through sheer force of bearing. But none of those moments came from a Filipino athlete, and none of them produced the specific combination of sporting credibility and genuine fashion authority that Alex generated in a single evening at 20 years old. The demand for the gown started as isolated searches and became a flood within 4 hours. People were landing on the designer's website in volumes the infrastructure simply wasn't designed to handle. Transaction attempts were stacking simultaneously. The brand's social media team was drowning in inquiries about availability, sizing, international shipping. By the time the ceremony was entering its final stretch, the inventory situation had already gone critical. And then the statement came. Brief, direct, impossible to soften. The gown was gone. Every unit, every size. The waiting list they'd opened as a fallback filled the same night. Trade publications that cover luxury and designer markets ran pieces within 48 hours, and the framing in those pieces was specific and considered. This wasn't just a viral moment. This was evidence of a new kind of consumer demand that follows athletes who occupy genuine crossover cultural space. The argument being made was that Alex hadn't been placed in that gown by a strategy. She'd chosen it, and the market responded to that authenticity in a way that calculated celebrity placements so often fail to produce, because people can feel the difference. And that distinction between a choice and a placement is where this story gets philosophically interesting if you're willing to go there with me. For most of the 20th century, an athlete becoming a genuine cultural force required time. Years of dominance followed by careful brand construction, followed by extended media exposure outside of sport. The process was slow by design because the channels through which cultural authority moved were slow. What Alex produced at the Laureus Awards compressed a process that used to take careers into a single evening. Some of that is technology. Social media has genuinely collapsed timelines that used to take decades to traverse. But technology alone doesn't explain it. What drove the demand to a complete sellout wasn't an algorithm. It was a Filipino fan base watching a young woman from Manila standing in the most glamorous sporting room in the world, wearing a Filipino designer, having earned the right to be in that room through years of grinding on courts across 3 continents. The achievement, the identity, the deliberate cultural statement. All 3 things landing simultaneously is what made the moment bigger than any individual piece of it. And here is the thing about that night that I keep coming back to. The thing that I think says more about who Alex actually is than any interview she's ever given. She didn't make a speech about representation. She didn't pose for photographs holding a flag. She didn't issue statements about the significance of her presence in that room. She showed up wearing exactly what she chose to wear and let the weight of the moment speak entirely through action. For a fan base that had watched her navigate years of doubt and dismissal without ever airing grievances publicly or making her struggle a performance, that restraint hit harder than any statement could have. It was consistent. It was her. The weeks after the Laureus Awards saw the story extend in directions that confirmed it had genuinely moved beyond a single viral moment. International fashion media began covering Alex as a subject in her own right, not as a tennis player who happened to photograph well at an event, but as a figure whose aesthetic choices carry cultural weight worth analyzing seriously. Requests arrived from publications that don't cover sport. The Filipino fashion house received inquiries from international retailers in Europe and Asia who had not previously carried the brand. Real commercial interest, not just social media noise. And through all of it, Alex went back to competition because she is, above everything else, a tennis player. The tour doesn't stop for fashion moments or cultural milestones. Rankings points are earned on court, and she is too serious a competitor to let external noise displace the work that actually moves her career forward. But something changed permanently that night. Every match result she produces from here lands in a context that is bigger than tennis. Every appearance she makes carries weight that didn't exist before that ivory gown hit the red carpet. The sport has gained something in her that it didn't fully understand it was getting. A player whose reach extends into cultural conversations that tennis has historically found very difficult to enter. And that reach didn't come from a PR strategy or a brand partnership or a carefully managed rollout. It came from a 20-year-old from Manila who made her choices deliberately and trusted that showing up fully, authentically, in exactly the way she wanted to, was enough. The room stopped. The cameras followed. The fashion world was shocked into a sellout. And none of it was an accident. The girl who was supposed to be an outlier, a curiosity, a junior champion who'd probably plateau somewhere comfortable and fade politely from the conversation, walked into the Laureus Awards 2026 and quietly detonated. Not loudly, not with announcements or declarations or manufactured drama, just with presence and intention and a white gown from home. That's who Alex is. And if this is the first time you're hearing this story properly told, you're arriving at exactly the right time. Because based on everything visible right now, that night wasn't the peak. It was the opening act.